What's up and welcome back to Bardown Talking Hockey episode number 154 presented by the Barroom Network. My name is Vinny Parisi and I am wearing a national championship hat. And this right here, this is Frankie Mueller and he's wearing a World Series champion hat. Frank, why are we both wearing championship hats and why am I just realizing it right now?
I don't know. Why are you wearing a championship hat?
I was wholeheartedly rooting for LSU. Like
Against Iowa?
I love Caitlin Clark. I love Caitlin Clark. I cannot wait till she is the number one overall pick in the WNBA draft. I will be going to see her against the Chicago Sky. I am that much of a fan. But there's nothing I love more than a villain and like being on the opposite side of most people. So I was rooting for LSU. Got my shit face caved in.
You just knew I was going to win.
Oh, I would have bet my life on it.
Because LSU blew them out last year.
Yeah, but remember last year when we were watching the World Baseball Classic? I don't think we watched that game together, but we discussed it on the show after, like when Ohtani was facing Trout had a chance to win the game.
Yeah.
I was like, what were you rooting for? I was like, wholeheartedly, I was rooting for Shohei Ohtani to strike out Mike Trout on a nice three-pitch mix and like Japan over Team USA as an American. Like it wasn't even a slight debate in my mind what I was
fake American.
For. No, why would I root for like Japan over USA and anything else other than but it's different with sports. I like being kind of like the contrarian. Like it was a no-brainer for me. Like I didn't even think twice about it that I was easily rooting for Shohei Ohtani to sit down Mike Trout in that moment.
VP's a fake American.
No, I'm very much not, and that's why like it was for pure baseball reasons. Maybe I'm like a fake political person or a fake like person of non-sports related things, but when it comes to sports, I go with my gut and my heart, and Shohei Ohtani striking out Mike Trout in that moment was the best possible outcome from a baseball point of view, and that's all I cared about. So like when LSU's playing Iowa and everyone and their mother's rooting for Iowa, I'm like, go Tigers.
You're crazy.
I am crazy.
I do that too, but not in like that. Like, I don't know. Like I do that in like the NHL. Like take down McDavid.
See, I feel like everyone.
You're the opposite.
But I feel like everyone hates the greats in hockey these days. Everyone wanted the Penguins to lose. I was like, go Penguins. Everyone's going to want the Oilers to lose. I'm like, let's go Oil. I'm going to be the only one rooting for Patrick Mahomes to make it 3 in a row next winter.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And like, yeah, I don't know. I'm weird.
VP likes conflict.
I do. You got a problem? You want smoke? Come meet me with fire. How about that, people?
Hey, I love LSU.
Overall, yeah, I think in any sport I would root for LSU over Iowa.
Oh yeah, probably. You just knew that she was gonna win, though. I mean,
the
writing's on the wall. This was the revenge game.
You can argue she's the greatest female athlete at her sport, maybe ever.
It's unbelievable.
Like the Williams twins in tennis, Marie-Philippe Poulin in hockey, Candace Parker, that's who I was drawing a blank on in basketball. Obviously, this Caitlin Clark, she's absolutely unbelievable. I love watching her play.
Angel Reese, she's great.
She's up there.
She declared for the draft. I don't know.
Like, will she be the number 2 pick?
That I don't know. I do know the Sky have the 3rd pick, so I don't know.
I didn't know that.
Could you imagine?
WNBA mock draft 2024. Oh, Frank. Let's see what USA Today says about it. The Indiana Fever, according to CBS, The Athletic, and Sporting News, have them taking Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
The Los Angeles Sparks with the 2nd overall pick. They went 3 for 3 on thinking that Cameron Brink from Stanford will be the 3rd overall pick.
Rip.
2nd overall pick from Stanford. All 3 of them agree on Rickea Jackson from Tennessee. being the 3rd overall pick by the Chicago Sky. Where is the first time Reese's name comes up? Sporting News has her going 7th overall to the Minnesota Lynx. Oh, Frank, you didn't tell me this.
I think they have another draft pick.
The Chicago Sky have the 8th overall pick, as well as the 3rd overall pick. And both CBS Sports and The Athletic project Angel Reese to be the Sky's 8th overall pick.
That'd be kind of funny.
Oh my God! Well, imagine if one is in Indiana and one is in Illinois.
Yeah, very close regardless.
From a pure sports point of view, that would be awesome.
Isn't it crazy though? Like all these big name players declaring for the draft. I mean, it seems like this is going to be like one of the biggest drafts of all time. And I don't know if that's because of all the hype surrounding Caitlin Clark, but like it just seems like there's a lot of players this year that I know, like Paige Beckers out of UConn. I don't know. I think she's a junior. I don't know if she's going to declare. Obviously, she hasn't said anything yet because they're still in the tournament. But not that that matters because Caitlin Clark said she's declaring for the draft and she's still in too. But there's just a lot of female known athletes this year that I think it's going to be a very good WNBA draft.
Very interesting, Frank. Very interesting. There are 12 teams in the WNBA.
I don't know.
It looks like, the Sky have the 3rd overall pick and then the 8th overall pick, which they got from Atlanta, who got it from Los Angeles. So that's that. We'll see. What if, dude? I would almost draft Angel Reese 3rd overall just to make sure you get her and drive up those season ticket sales. I know I'd be locked in.
She's good. She's really good. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? Did you just see that?
I saw something fall. I thought I saw something behind you.
I've had this over the Rangers one for like a month now.
Yeah, when we were there, it was there.
And it just fell off just now.
That's a bad sign.
The Devils play the Rangers tonight.
Oh, they're done. They're done.
7-0 Rangers.
Oh,
minimum.
yeah, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
You're cooked.
Yeah.
Like, what are the odds? Like,
cooked.
Like,
they happen to play each other on national television tonight. They're on
they're boned.
Oh, they're big time boned. But you know what? No matter what, people that rip I don't give F all you people. I don't care. I'll root for the Devils forever. Devils or die. Devils or die. Get out of here. They'll be back to what they were last year, next year. I ain't even worried. Get a goalie, get a coach, win the Stanley Cup. Screw all of you. I don't need any of you.
Wow.
Frank, let's get into it. In period number 1. Frank, for the 3rd time this season, Jaboy, Connor Bedard was named the Rookie of the Month. Odd Rookie of the Month for Connor Bedard because Connor Bedard, he gets drafted. He's playing for the Regina Pats. He's got 1 billion goals. Everybody knows him. He's this next great goal scorer. He's going to have 50 goals in his career multiple times, which I still absolutely believe that is the number 1 asset to his game. But in the last little bit, he's been like, you know what? You guys, all you assholes only think I can shoot. None of you understand that my hockey IQ is actually good enough to be just as good as any playmaker in the world. I'm going to just start passing the puck a shit ton. And in the month of March, he scored his 4 goals, and he had 13 assists for 17 points in 14 games in the month of March. He joins Connor McDavid as the only active player with 3 Rookie of the Month awards in their current rookie season. What a dog. What a dog.
Oh, my God. He's been so much fun to watch this season. I mean, winning Rookie of the Month is only going to be a fraction of what he's going to accomplish during his time in the NHL. But just another big month out of Bedard, 17 points. Just truly remarkable for this kid and how good he is at 18 years old. And now, like, winning Rookie of the Month is more of a common occurrence than it is a surprise. I don't think anybody was really surprised when he won it for the first time in November. But now it's just like, oh, yeah, Bedard, Rookie of the Month, just a common occurrence now, 3rd time. Like you said, the first time that it's happened since Connor McDavid did it. And if it wasn't for his broken jaw, I think there's a chance he could have been Rookie of the Month for January or February, and have
No
been.
reason not to think it's possible.
And
January was the big month that Faber went off and asserted himself
that's the
into
only
the.
thing. You can't assume that he would have, but there would
Yeah,
have been
it's
that
possible.
chance.
It's possible.
I would say
100%.
at least January or February. There would have been another
100%.
one in there.
Yep.
So it's like the fact that we sit here on April 3rd and know Bedard is a lock for the Calder is remarkable. It just goes to show you the talent that Bedard is, and that even that he missed 14 games, he has the Calder Trophy locked up with no sweat. That says a lot about the athlete in Connor Bedard.
In your opinion, when can a defenseman say he is a high-end offensive defenseman? How many points do they need to reach? Like a high-end offense. I'm not talking super elite. I'm not talking Cale Makar or Quinn Hughes. Just an above-average offensive defenseman. What point total do you think you need?
I would say 60.
60 to be above. I
I would
think
say,
I think you start to flirt with like elite offensive defensemen when you start flirting with 60.
you really think so? See,
Yeah,
I think
because then you get weirdos like Makar and Carlson and Burns
yeah,
who
but
do like
they're
80.
different. Yeah,
That's better than elite. That's
yeah,
like
but
Hall of
like
Fame.
you get 60, like that's pretty good. Like to me, anything less than 60s, no, because you're gonna chip in some assists here and there. I mean, who was a good? I mean, Keith probably had like 50 or 60 some years, and he was a defensive defenseman. And it's like different breed of player, but
See,
it
I think 60 is like upper echelon in a season for a defenseman. I do. Um, like 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 you got the Makars and the Hugheses and Eric Carlson in his prime who can get to like 80 to 100. Those are like Hall of Famers in their prime. I think when you get to 40,
40.
yeah, I think when you get to 40, you are an above average offensive defenseman.
See, there's just
Like
too many. Like, there's too
most
many.
of most defensemen don't even get to 30.
Yeah, I know, but there's just too many. Like, you got lucky type of points that you get to 40. It's like there are great defensive defensemen out there who get to 40 or 50 points a season who aren't considered
Yeah.
like a good offensive defenseman. Like 40, that's just
I can't agree with you on that because I'm trying to find scoring by defensemen in the NHL right now. I think you're going to be shocked at how many people aren't at 40 yet. Scoring defenseman NHL, most points defenseman this season. Oh, I want all time
like
or this
I
season.
consider Drew Doughty a defensive defenseman. And like, how many does he have? I have no idea.
Hold on, let me find it. NHL defenseman
He's got
points.
46, and he's a defensive defenseman. See,
Frank,
he's at
1,
40.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are only 8 defensemen in the NHL right now with over 60 points.
Yeah, I mean,
Like McAvoy. McAvoy has 44. John Carlson 48. Heiskanen 48. Eric Carlson 47. Drew Doughty 46. Christopher
yeah,
Letang.
but those are like defensive defensemen. You said a good high tier offensive defenseman.
These guys
You're
I'm
getting.
naming are all two-way defensemen, except for Eric Carlson. He's an offensive defenseman.
See, I view Drew Doughty as like a defensive defenseman.
I can't because of how many points he's put up in his career. Like I firmly consider him a two-way D. But like the point I'm trying to make is Hughes and Faber each have over 40 points and they're teenagers or 20. And in normal years, guys like that are locks to be the Calder Trophy winner. Bedard has him beat with a month left to go.
Yeah,
That's the
a
point I was
lot.
trying to make. That's the point I'm trying to make. So like if you're however old, like Luke Hughes is, that looks like 24th in scoring for defensemen as a rookie. That gets you in
Yeah,
the conversation for rookie of the year most of the time. Same thing. I think Faber has 41. That the fact that Bedard, people aren't even thinking of those guys in that conversation is unreal. Is
he's just
absolutely
too
unreal.
good.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then holy crap, this Norris Trophy race between Hughes, Makar, and Yossi is Bouchard's in the mix, but like Yossi's better defensively. But like that sparks a whole different conversation. But Bedard has just been absolutely phenomenal, and he's probably going to he'll break 60 points. See, that to me, I think you're an above average offensive player if you get to 60 points, like forward. So for a defenseman to get 60 points is like, whoa. Like you're
True.
basically putting up forward like offensive numbers from the back end. And then you get weirdos like Hughes and McCarr and Yossi. Bouchard's clapper on the power play and being set up by McDavid and Draisaitl on the power play. I'm not saying that's the only reason he's good either, because other defensemen have gone to Edmonton and tried to do what Bouchard's doing and they weren't able to. So like that's not a knock on him at all, but damn.
I'll compromise and say 50.
That's fair. I mean, but for a rookie, a 20-year-old having in the 40s,
That's great.
I think Quinn Hughes and Cale Makar had their rookie seasons in the late 40s, early 50s in points. Mm-hmm. And Makar came in first and Hughes came in second. All of a sudden, you got guys like that this year. Bedard's just like, no shot. Absolutely no shot. I'm a forward. I'm supposed to put up offense, but I put up so much offense as an 18-year-old that these high-scoring rookie defensemen have nothing on me this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough year to come into the league if you're Faber. Woo!
Yeah, for sure. So you got Faber second, Hughes third?
Yeah.
Me too. I do like seeing Luke Hughes, though.
Kochekhov's not out of the realm of possibility to see.
No, and it's hard because when people talk about like Hart trophies and Calder trophies, you bring up all the stats, right? And the goalies don't show up on these stats. Right. So like, where does a Kochetkov fit in? And a non this year there are 4 guys who could win the Hart trophy, but there are some years where goalies get in the mix. Where do those guys fit in? So,
I wouldn't be surprised, is all I'm saying, if Kochetkov towards the end of the year goes up the rankings a little bit.
100%. Now, does he start a lot though? Since Anderson came back, that might be the only undoing for his Calder Trophy chances.
His starts have come down a little bit, but that's natural.
Of course.
But I mean, he's still been fantastic. You got Anderson and Kochetkov. Like, it's a good duo.
Oh, for sure. They're one of the 6. That, if you ask me right now.
Yeah, they're so good.
They're one of the 6. Frank, over the weekend, the New York Rangers had a big game.
They did.
I don't know if I've ever seen a team have more milestones reached by players individually in one game than in this one New York Rangers game. Do you know what I'm referring to?
Yeah. There's 3 I could think of. If there's more, you have to let me know.
Go ahead.
We got the Jonathan Quick being the winningest American goaltender in the NHL, passing Ryan Miller. I just think we often forget how great Jonathan Quick is, or was in his prime. I mean, a lot of people associate the 2024 Sochi Winter Olympics with TJ Oshie, but guess who was the goaltender for Team USA? Jonathan Quick. So he had a rough ending to his career in Los Angeles, but on Vegas and New York, he's been great. And the way he's been playing, he's hungry to get his 4th Stanley Cup. And when you've won 4 Stanley Cups as a goaltender, you're in some elite company because there's not many to do it. So there was that one. Got Chris Kreider getting his 300th goal in the NHL. Crucial top 6 forward for the New York Rangers. And Alexis Lafreniere got his first career hat trick. So maybe this is where things start to kick off a little bit for him, because a lot of people didn't like the way he started out his career. He's a little bit of a late bloomer, but it's no secret as to why the Rangers have 104 points in the standings with 7 games left to go in the season. I mean, all these milestones contribute to that. Is there anything else?
There is one more. First off, I want to comment on Jonathan Quick. Jonathan Quick, greatest American goalie ever. Like, I don't think it's close. I would take Jonathan Quick to start his career over any American goalie we've seen. A Conn Smythe Trophy, a 2-time Stanley Cup champion. He's the all-time winningest American goalie. Lots of success with both the Los Angeles Kings and the New York Rangers. I said 2-time Stanley Cup champion. He is by definition a 3-time Stanley Cup
I give it
champion.
to him 100%.
100%. His name is on the cup 3 times. Yeah. Chris Kreider, 300 goals, remarkable. He was always just a solid goal scorer. He did get helped by his 50-goal season. Kind of been like fine wine. His goal totals have been going up as he gets into his 30s. Kind of an odd career trajectory with goals. But when he first came into the league, the New York Rangers were a very defensive-minded team under John Tortorella, and they have since become a little bit more of an offensive threat. He enjoys having Panarin and Zibanejad on the power play. There's no doubt about that. And then Lafreniere makes you wonder what Gerard Gallant was smoking when he had him on the third line in a checking role basically since his rookie year, because since being put on a line with Artemi Panarin, Lafreniere has just been a boom. The hat trick got him up to 25 goals. He should flirt with 30. He should flirt with 60 points. I don't know if he's ever going to be the superstar that we thought he was going to be. I told you when we ranked the last 10 first overall picks, I would rank Lafreniere third in terms of hype coming into the draft. He was more hyped than Hughes, McKinnon, Dahlin, Heischer, any of them. He's probably near the bottom in terms of production through their first 5 years or 4 years. But in terms of hype coming in, it went McDavid, Bedard, Lafreniere, and it's not particularly close. I really don't think number 4. Number 4 is probably Jack Hughes. And, Hughes is amazing. He hit the ground running, but the hype, he didn't hit the ground running, but he's, considered a superstar now. But he did not have the hype coming in that Lafreniere did, even though he probably should have. He's been amazing. And I told you, if he became Timo Meier, Lafreniere, I think the Rangers would sign up for it in a minute. Just 30 to 40 goals every year, no matter what. Lead the team in hits, go to the front of the net, be a big body, be kind of mean. I mean, that's what Devils fans and Sharks fans love about Timo Meier. If they could get that out of Lafreniere, I think they'll be sitting pretty. There was another milestone. Adam Fox reached his 300th career assist in the hockey game as well. So if you think about Fox having 300 career assists in this short amount of time, I would consider him a high-end offensive player as well. He currently has 66 points. And I think calling him above average is not telling the whole. I think he's like borderline elite. He'll have 70-plus points as a defenseman. And I think 60 to 70 is where I start calling you elite. I think Adam Fox is pretty elite, that he's already at 300 career assists at this point in the game.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's no secret why they got 104 points in the standing. They've been great.
20, 21, 4-1 in their last 26 games.
I can't wait to see who they open up against, because I'm probably going to go against them in the first round.
I hope
it's the Leafs. It'll be the first time I take the Leafs.
Wow.
Rangers don't do anything. Like, they're the
Fugazis, as Biz calls them.
They're diet Toronto Maple Leafs. They can't make waves in the playoffs.
They're Fugazis.
Fugazi.
Speaking of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Austin Matthews, since our last show, has reached the 60-goal plateau. He has since scored 2 more even. He has 62 goals on the season. Frank, Pablo is firmly the best goal scorer in the NHL. He has 142 goals in the last 3 seasons. And that leads all players, of course. Last year, he had a down year, and he scored 40 goals. He also had a serious wrist injury last year, so all of his goals were like bank. He kind of changed the way he played for a season to get through his injury. But this year, he's healthy. The wrist is fine. The shot's good. The shot's good, and he's still scoring these banking crazy goals too. He's doing it all. He could score any type of goal. He could drive offense. He's really good defensively. I mean, Pablo's got it all going on right now.
Yeah, with his 60th tally of the season, Matthew became the only active player to have 2 60-goal seasons, which was pretty cool to think about. We remember Stamkos did it, but he's only got 1. Now, why is it so fitting, VP, that he scored his 60th goal against Buffalo, in Buffalo? Very fitting.
Well, I know that's probably one of their biggest rivals. You tell me.
That is the same building in which Austin Matthews was drafted to the Leafs in 2016. and he's now only the 9th player ever to score multiple 60-goal seasons. Now the focus is switched to a potential 70-goal season. He sits at 62 goals, 8 games left in the season. He needs 8 goals in 8 games, which is highly doable for Austin Matthews. And I think it'd be really cool to see him get 70 goals because neither of us have seen a 70-goal season with our own 2 eyes. The last time someone scored 70 goals in a season, it was in 1992, 1993. Teemu Selanne and Alexander Mowgli, they each scored, McGilly, whatever, scored 76, each of them in the same season. And Teemu Selanne that year was a rookie. So if there's a guy to do it, it would be Austin Matthews, and it would be this year. Chances like this, they don't come around too often. Matthews will be able to, he'll be a 60-plus goal candidate for like the next 8 to 10 years, but you don't want to miss this opportunity when you're so close because nothing's ever a guarantee. So I'm kind of rooting for him to get 70.
I am too. I don't know. That's 8 goals in 8 games. I mean, he's had 8 goals over 8 games this season.
Yeah,
but like, is he going to do it over this final 8? I hope so. But I mean, I do believe he will have 70 at least once in his career. I also think Bedard will as well. Yeah, I don't know. I do think if Matthew stays healthy, he breaks Ovechkin's all-time goal record. I've been on that train for a while now. He has to play 1,300 games, 1,400 games. And he needs to probably keep the 50s and the 60s going early and then be in the, 40s, 30s down towards the end of his career. So, but right now, I know last year a little down with 40 goals, but if you're down years 40 and it's sandwiched between 260 burgers, I think it's pretty fair to say you're the best goal scorer in the NHL. I have him right now top 4 for MVP. I think 4 guys can legitimately win it. It's hard. If he scores 70, it's going to be hard to say no to him for the MVP.
Yeah, it is. If he scores 70, he's probably going to win it because it's going to be one of those things that you haven't seen, like that just doesn't happen. And that's kind of usually what happens in the NHL when something big like that happens, something we haven't seen in 20 plus years. I mean, no, like 30 plus years. He's probably going to win MVP if he scores 70 goals.
Well, we'll jump down a couple bullet points here, and then we'll go back up a little bit because it leans into it nicely. Frank, if Connor McDavid has 100 assists, it's going to be, I don't know what's more impressive, 70 goals or 100 assists.
Because we're used to that out of McDavid, and he's won it before. And it's
Frank, so is Matthews.
I understand that. This is a cliff I will die on. There's no changing my mind on this one.
If McDavid reaches 100 assists, which he will, he needs 4 more.
Yeah.
He will join Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, and Bobby Orr as the only players to ever do it.
Still, 70
Nobody has ever scored 100 points except for those 3, or 100 assists except for those 3. Frank, you did something that only the 3 greatest hockey players who ever lived have done.
I understand.
Bobby Orr, Mario Lemieux, and Wayne Gretzky all had 100 assists. They're the only ones to ever do it. Joe Thornton, the greatest passer of a generation, never had 100 assists. Never came close. Patrick Kane never had 100 assists. Pavel Datsyuk, Evgeny Malkin, Sidney Crosby. None of them have ever even come close to 100 assists. I'm playing devil's advocate. I don't have an opinion. I think if McDavid gets 100 assists and Matthews gets 70 goals, you flip them both the bird and give it to freaking McKinnon because it's too hard to pick. I honestly think I do not think it's as clear cut as you're making it out to seem. Because 100 assists,
fantastic,
mind-boggling.
Yeah, but his goal production's lower too. You got to take the whole thing into consideration. You just don't give it to somebody for having 70 goals, and you just don't give it to somebody for having 100 assists. It's a little down here in terms of
how many assists does Matthews have?
I don't know. I can look it up.
34.
All right, so it's the
not
same.
That great.
But it's the same both ways. I said you don't give it to him just for having 70 goals, but you don't give it to him just for having. I don't know. It's just.
I'm creating debate because I don't know.
To me, I have put more stock in goals. Harder to do. He'll be the only active player to score 70. Hasn't happened in 30 years. To me, that's more impressive. You put the puck in the net 70 times. If you're playing with greats and you're playing with Draisaitl and Evander Kane and whoever else is on whoever like it,
Well,
yeah,
let's
you're
not
good.
act like Matthews is playing with nobodies.
No,
Nylander has 40. He's got more
but
points.
yeah, I mean, he's not playing with nobody, but he's only got 30 something assists. He's doing the work. It's like it's more impressive in my opinion. Like,
I think
it to me, it's not even close, really.
goals and assists are both goals
Correct.
for your team.
Correct.
So, like McDavid, if he has 135 points and 100 assists, he's probably he's going to push over 100. He's probably going to have like 104, 105 assists and 35, 40 goals. I mean, I don't know. Because there's two other guys who are also in the conversation. You could fairly give it to Kucherov or McKinnon, too. Like, you know, McKinnon's leading his team in scoring by like, no, not by that much, by like 30 points, I think. Rantanen is a 100-point player, I think, now. Kucherov, I think Kucherov is leading his team by like a wide.
I'd give it to McKinnon if it was up to me, but that's just me.
Yeah,
but
honestly, I don't
if
have
he
an
gets
answer
70
right now.
goals, like
I think this is the closest Hart Trophy race in years. The last 5 seasons at least. I think the year Hall won it is the last time it was this close. Because there was like a 4-man race that year too. Giroux, Kopitar, Hall, and McKinnon. And they gave it to Hall. I would say this time around, it's equally as close. Dude, 100 assists. If McDavid never scored a goal.
You're going to call me crazy. It's not impressive to me. Exactly. I knew you're going to roll your eyes. It's not. You
crazy.
sit here and it doesn't even make me like phase myself.
Frank, Bobby Orr, Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux are the only ones who. How does not having 100 assists impress? Not impressive.
Because it's probably because it's McDavid. I expect this from him. It's not impressive when he does it. If you told me freaking like Noah Hannafin had 100 assists, I'd be like, oh, holy shit, wow. But you're saying Connor McDavid, it's like wake up and smell the coffee. Like no shit, he's got.
He's never done it, and he's never gonna do it again.
I mean, it's just not to me. I don't know. It's just not impressive.
McDavid. I don't
know.
I'm not calling him the Hart Trophy winner. I think it's magnificent what he's doing with these 100 assists. Like if he's having such a good season with his assist total that he has made it now where if he never scored a goal, if you delete all of his 300 something career goals, he's point per game in his career.
Are you surprised?
Yeah,
he's got 100 assists. You're surprised. See,
considering his career highs like 70.
If you're surprised, no, his career high is 89, 90 almost. So it's like to me that's not impressive because like then you've doubted McDavid because like this is something you should have seen coming.
But no, because last year he had 60 something goals.
Right. It was more impressive to have 60 goals and almost 90 assists.
And he also had like 11 points in the first 14 games of the season.
So you're telling me if a guy went out and he had like let's see, if he had like 10 goals but 120 assists, he should win the Hart.
I mean, he'd be in the conversation. Yes, he absolutely would be in the conversation.
I don't even think it would be stupid.
That's Frank. Joe Thornton has been in Hart Trophy conversations with similar totals to that.
I understand. I understand.
Like he would have 10 goals and 80 assists in his career.
I understand that, but
how many more? What was Joe Thornton's totals when he won the Hart Trophy?
Hold on.
When Joe Thornton won the Hart Trophy, what did his numbers look like? Because I know he's the only player in NHL history to win a Hart Trophy in a season in which he was traded. He had 29 goals and 96 assists. He didn't even have
29.
He didn't even have 100 assists.
He didn't have somebody in the league scoring 70 though. That year, there wasn't the competition that there was. Were there 4 guys at 126 points right there? The guy potentially scoring 70. When you got no competition, no shit, he's gonna win it. McDavid, like to me, I have more stock in goals. Like if you scored 70 goals, and this argument's probably all for nothing because if he doesn't get 70 goals, there's a 0% chance he wins it in my eyes. Like this is only in
Yeah, wait a minute. What am I even? Yeah, what am I even arguing?
I believe he has a 0%
goals.
unless he gets 70 goals. So this argument's for waste.
And
But
McDavid has a 100% chance, unless he breaks his clavicle tonight. He has a 100%
I don't want you to think.
chance.
I think McDavid will win it if Matthews doesn't. I think Kucherov and McKinnon are screwed right now because of the way. Like, well, I was gonna say this when we got to it. Like, I was on McKinnon winning it the whole time. Like 2 weeks ago, I looked and I'm like, yeah,
Same.
McKinnon's. And then when I saw McDavid's doing, I'm like, oh, McDavid's gonna win it now, like 100%. And I was gonna say that when we got there, but all I'm saying is, if Matthews gets 70 goals, to me, he is the favorite now because that is unbelievable.
Is there a world where McDavid doesn't win the Art Ross, but he wins the Hart Trophy?
McDavid?
Yeah.
Is there a world that he doesn't?
Is there a world where he doesn't lead the league in scoring, but he wins the Hart Trophy still?
I don't know why I can't process your question.
He doesn't currently lead the league in points.
No, I know. It's Kucherov.
If he ends the season not leading the league in points, can he still win the Hart Trophy?
Yeah, 100%.
I think so too. People are going to look at the 100 assists and what Edmonton has done largely because of him.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I think McKinnon is still alive in the race a little bit. I don't think it's firmly dead.
He's on life support.
Not having a point in that game against the Rangers at home. If he would have had another Gretzky records, Frank, are so ridiculous that when someone breaks one, they get put in the Hart Trophy conversation. And he would have been the first player since Gretzky to have a point in every home game. And
he would have broke the record. Gretzky only did it in 40.
Yep. Which is all on that.
Which is why he was my favorite going into it 2 weeks ago when I looked at McDavid was only at 98 points. But it's like, it's going to be McDavid unless I think Matthews gets 70. I believe that. Like, it's unbelievable.
I agree.
Like,
I think if Matthews gets 70, he wins the Hart.
8-8, that'll be taken into consideration too down the stretch. He did 8 in 8 games. 70.
I think 70 goals.
You're in an elite company getting 70. Like, I want to know McDavid hasn't even done that yet.
No, he had 64, which
did Ovechkin even ever get 70? No, right? No. Exactly. Like, you're in an elite company if you get 70 goals.
Yeah.
Like, you also join Wayne Gretzky and whoever else to only do it. Like Teemu Selanne, Hall of Famer. Yeah. Oh my God. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
70 goals.
I wonder if Teemu Selanne is the only active Hall of Famer whose career year was his rookie year.
Well, that record will never be broken.
A rookie having...
No rookie's going to have 77 goals and break.
No, because Connor Bedard and Connor McDavid were about as good as a rookie could be.
Yeah, and it's not even close.
Come close.
No, so even if they stayed healthy and played 82 games, they wouldn't have had 77.
Yeah, no shot.
So
absolutely
it's just like
no shot.
But it's
I do think we will have a 100-point rookie again soon, at some point.
That's possible. Yeah,
because rookies coming over from the KHL or playing in college, like if Will Smith came to the Sharks and had a sick line mate and had 100 points in his rookie year at 22 years old, I wouldn't be shocked at all.
Mm-hmm.
Or like if Perreault played with Leonard, or if Perreault played with Panarin and Lafreniere next year and had 90 to 100 points, I wouldn't be too surprised at all. I think he's probably going to go back to BC for another year. I hope that whole line does. We'll get to that.
So,
but
I think
in the end, we agree. The only thing I think you're smoking crack on is calling it the not that impressive.
It's not though. It's McDavid.
I mean, it's completely impressive. It's McDavid. He's never done it. He never even come close. He's the closest he's been is 11 points away. Like, what do you mean? Only the great one, Super Mario, and number 4, Bob Orr are the only ones to ever do it. Okay. Though. If you made a Mount Rushmore of hockey players of all time, it would be those 3 and someone else. And they're the only 3 who have ever done it.
It's impressive, but it's like I can't even if I would have scrolled on it and saw that on social media, I'd be like, okay, yeah, McDavid, he's going to join the greats. Like, it's not like jaw-dropping to me.
Okay. When you word it like that, I get what you're saying.
Right.
Your words earlier were it's not that impressive.
But it's okay. Poor choice of wording. It's impressive, but it's also I expect this. Like he's only getting better. He's like just getting into his prime, and
All
it's
right,
like
so Frankie wants 200 points from McDavid.
if that happened, I'd be like, that would be like a holy shit. But I'd be like, but it's kind of expected. Like it's
If
McDavid.
McDavid got 200 points, I
Like
think it's possible.
okay, so if you think that's possible, then the 100 assists shouldn't like be jaw dropping.
He had 150 last year, and he had 60 goals.
Could you fill JP in when you get a chance?
Connor McDavid is 4 assists away from having 100. Like 100 assists. And
But he
only Wayne Gretzky, Bobby Orr, and Mario Lemieux have only ever had 100 assists in one season.
So this argument
That means Mike Bossy never did it. That means frickin' Paul Coffey never did it. That means Sidney Crosby never did it. Evgeny Malkin never did it. Joe Thornton never did it. Patrick Kane never did it.
Correct.
All these all-time great passers never had 100 assists in a season.
But I would say McDavid will go down as better than them.
Oh, Frank.
So in my eyes,
Yeah.
that's what I'm expecting something like this to happen.
Okay.
Right? Like it's just, and this argument spawned off the Hart Trophy winner, but in the end we agree. So this argument really was like a waste.
Well, I'm going to choose Thews.
Like all I was saying, JP, is if Matthews got 70 goals, he would need 8 in his last 8 games. He would be my front runner to win the Hart, because to me that is more impressive than 100 assist season for McDavid and something we expect to happen. Now, if McDavid had 100 assists and 45 goals, I'd be like, holy shit, he's knocking on the door of a 50-100 burger. Like, 100% he wins it. But like, I don't know.
I hope McDusty
He wins it right now.
I hope McDusty does 50 and 100 once. I need that like I need air.
Like, so are you agreeing now with me?
If Pablo has 70 goals, I'd give him the Hart Trophy.
Yeah. All right, so we agree. So this was all for nothing.
Well, no, the only thing that turned me away from you was when you said it's not that impressive. I get what you mean. Where Connor McDavid doing stuff like that doesn't float your boat necessarily. Like it doesn't get you going the way Austin Matthews scoring 70 goals does. Okay, that I understand. I understand what you mean now that you have explained it. But when you initially looked in the camera and said it's not that impressive, that's what made me freaking see red.
It was the wrong terminology. Like it is impressive, right? Joey says, I would agree it's amazing stat, but the fact that McDavid is about to do it just doesn't come off as impressive he should be. Wait, what? He gets 150 points easy. Is he agreeing with me or you?
Both.
I would agree.
He's wording it the way you worded it the second time.
Yeah, because like you expect it. Like he gets 100. Right. It was just bad wording by me, I guess.
But if he were on the show as a co-host, when you said it's not that impressive.
Okay, I guess I should say it's not that impressive to me.
Oh, no. I think the way you worded it the second time was perfect. When you're scrolling on your phone and you see that Connor McDavid's about to have 100
you're not going to blink an eye.
You're almost like, oh, he hasn't done that yet? Like, that's one of the greatest stats you could possibly have, but I would expect McDavid to do that at least once. And I get what you're saying.
And from the stuff that I've been reading, like I didn't even realize McDavid was 4 points away. All I've been hearing about is a potential 70-goal season, because I think more people have cared about that more than 100 assists. So in that aspect, if you get to 70, you're like McDavid's joining greats for getting 100 assists. You're also joining greats. Like some of the best hockey players of our generation never even sniffed 70. Well, I shouldn't say that. They did, but like this is like we're getting a real territory. You're joining elites.
Yeah,
I want to know, like,
it's weird. There are more players who have scored 70 goals than had 100 assists, but there are more players that have flirted with 100 assists than there are players that have flirted with 70 goals. So you can argue that either way, like however you want to angle it. But I'm with you. I think it's a very compelling argument. This has been freaking awesome. This is one of my favorite conversations that we've had in a long time. People probably think we're both just bullying each other, but what really we're saying in a long-winded mean way is that we agree with each other. If Pablo has 70 goals, he's going to be the Hart Trophy winner.
But even if he gets like 68, 69, McDavid will win it.
You know what's going to
It's all
happen?
contingent on him getting 70 goals.
He's going to end with 67, which is the cursed number of Toronto Maple Leafs fans.
Why?
The number 67 is like their unlucky number 13. Like, you know how that's like a cryptic number? It's a cryptic number in Leafs culture because that's the last year they won the Stanley Cup.
Oh, God.
So if Austin Matthews, like the year they won Austin Matthews, I believe they ended with 67 points. It is just like weird how this number just haunts them forever. If he ends the season with 67 points, or 67 goals, I will be picking them to lose in the first round.
Tom says
cannot land on 67.
I mean, so the way people make fun of me for saying it, poetry, but it is. It's my favorite word to use on the show because it's 100% true. But Tom says it's impressive no matter how you look at it. You two stated the fact that only 3 players have previously done by nature makes it impressive, which, yeah.
And the 3 players are who they are.
Right.
Like, I do think if you made an NHL Mount Rushmore, people like to argue about anything. If I write on Twitter, I like money, someone will comment why I'm an asshole for liking money and how money's bad for you. Like, people will argue about anything. I think it's pretty consensus that Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, and Bobby Orr would be on the NHL's all-time Mount Rushmore. Now, people would debate the 4th person till the cows come home. I guarantee you, me, you, and Tom would all have a different answer on who's number 4. I would put Sidney Crosby. I would take Sidney Crosby's career over anyone in the NHL's history except for the other 3 guys. McDavid will probably boot him off. But, you know, I would take Sidney Crosby's career over because I think he's going to be the NHL's 2nd all-time leading scorer by the time it's all said and done. But
I guess the word impressive is also subjective in a way and different because, like, if you expect something to happen, it's not impressive, in my opinion, no matter, like, who really does it. For example, like, if McDavid had 4 50-goal seasons in a row, I'm expecting that kind of, like, well, not, I mean, it'd be impressive, but it's not impressive, right? Or, like, if Steph Curry went 12 for 12 from 3-point range in a game, like, okay, it's impressive, but if Vukovic on the Bulls went 12 for 12 from 3, I'd be like, holy shit, that's impressive. Now that's impressive. You know, it's like the word it's very subjective and it's different meaning depending how you use it. Like, I don't even know. Like, you get what I'm saying?
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Frank, I don't like the word impressive.
I get it. I get it. You have explained yourself well. You have rebounded that argument in your favor where everybody understands what you're saying and we all agree.
Yeah, like it makes sense. Right? Like, it makes sense if Brad Marchand had 100 assists. Because that's not something we're expecting. I'm not expecting Marchand to never have 100 assists. But if he did, I'd say that's impressive.
Joey literally said 5 minutes ago, though, that it's an amazing stat, which is all that is true. Having 100 assists.
Now, an amazing stat is good. I agree with the wording, amazing. It's amazing, but it's like
one of the 3. Joey's a moron because one of the 3 all-time players to do it was a Bruin. So he could get out of here with his Brad Marchand shit. Brad Marchand.
But like he says, it's normal. It's like McDavid scores 70.
It's not normal.
But
it's not freaking normal. He's never done it. He's never going to do it again.
But it is for McDavid.
This is the one time McDavid's going to have 100 assists. If McDavid has 100 assists again, I'll eat a hat.
But will you be surprised if he does it again?
Yes.
No. See,
I would.
No, you're crazy.
I would. Because there are going to be other years where he does 50 and 80 or 40 and 90 or dare I say 70. I wouldn't be surprised. That wouldn't surprise me either. If that, I think McDavid has a better chance to in the future have 70 goals than 100 assists.
I
Again.
also think it's just because it's McDavid. Like if Matthews had 29 goals and 100 assists, and McDavid was flirting for 70, we'd be like, oh, wait a second, McDavid's about to get 70. I think he's gonna win the Hart, and we wouldn't even be talking about Matthews having 100 assists.
Dude, you're freaking crazy. You are nuts.
At least Tom agrees with you.
Assists are goals. Assists are goals. Like
They are goals, and I always say
and
that
goals
too,
are goals too. But I don't know. I think Connor has a better chance in the future of hitting 70 goals than having 100 assists again.
I mean, it's possible.
But at the end of the day, I get what you're saying about with McDavid. Like, you kind of just expect the unexpected with him.
You have the best player in the league getting 100 assists. It's like, all right.
Well, he's the best player in the league, and he's like extra spectacular. Like, it takes other people to have career years to even be in the same conversation as him. He normally has the Hart Trophy locked up by now.
Right.
But because the dog is having a career year, he's in the conversation, and Matthews might score 70, so he's in the conversation. The funny thing is for Thews, I honestly think Pablo is either nominated, or he either wins it or not nominated at all. I don't think there's anything in between.
Yeah, like
He's either going to win it as a 70 goal man or not be nominated at all in favor of McDusty, the dog, and Kucherov.
Yeah, like Kucherov is boned in a way. I think Kucherov comes in fourth if Matthews wins it.
I would agree.
Like you could go from being nominated to be outside of the top three.
Tom wants to know how many times has the best player in the league had 100 assists? 3.
How many times has the best player in the league had 70 goals? We haven't seen it with our own two eyes.
Well, never. Never. Because Matthews is not the best player in the league.
Okay, how many times has an elite player had 70 goals? We haven't seen it.
No, we haven't seen it.
Right.
I am not undermining the severity of scoring 70 goals. I agree with the feat and it being Hart Trophy worthy.
To me, if you put them on a scale, they would almost balance out. It's harder to get 70 goals, in my opinion, than it is to get 100 assists. Or about equal. That extra 30 assists equates to the less goals. Yeah. It just is. Because it's you could get a secondary assist that you might not even deserve. Right?
You know what though? If you're looking at it this way though, when you have an assist, you're relying on somebody else too to help you.
Yeah.
Which means you are so good that you helped somebody else be better.
But how many of the assists?
Matthews, a lot of it is his ridiculous freaking shot and his ability to score goals. So he does get help from the Nylanders and the Tavareses. I don't know where they both rank. I know McDavid is second in the league in primary points, meaning a goal or assist, not secondary assist. I think Kucherov is first. I think Matthews is like a little bit down the list because a lot of it is goals. And I don't know. They're both so sick. They're both just freaking sweet. I hope Edmonton plays Toronto in the Stanley Cup final. That's what I think I would lock that in right now if I could.
Wow, really?
Just think about it, Frank. Ignore all your favorite teams.
Okay.
Pretend you love all 32 teams equally.
Mm-hmm.
And you have no bets in on anything. All you want, you're the only focus is to watch the best, most pure version of hockey. I think that comes from the Toronto Maple Leafs playing against the Edmonton Oilers. That would be so sick. That would be... I would pay $100 for that to be the case.
That's crazy.
I would pay my own money for that to be the matchup. Like, I think they'd be third or fourth of who I want to win the Stanley Cup out of all the teams that are going to make it. I would probably go Boston Bruins, Colorado Avalanche, Edmonton Oilers, Toronto Maple Leafs, just because I want Parisi to win a cup and the Bruins, of course. But outside of those two teams, I think it's like for sure what I would want: Edmonton and Toronto. My goodness, McDavid versus Matthews, winner gets the cup. I sound like Skip Bayless when I make that breathing noise.
It's possible.
My goodness. You know who knows a thing or two about winning and being an elite player? Sidney Crosby, who just clinched his 19th straight points per game season. Penguins are red hot. Their win last night over my New Jersey Devils makes it 5 in a row for them. They are only 3 points out of a playoff spot. They are back in the hunt. Frank, what do you got on the Penguins?
I think the Penguins are getting hot at the worst time. I know it's going to sound weird because they're only 3 points out. They're hot final stretch of the season, normally a good thing. Sid, 6 goals, 15 points in his last 6 games. He's cruising. Right? A perfect time to be knocking on the door of your third 40-goal season. First since 2016, 2017. And you did it at 36 years old. It puts just a glimmer of hope in the Pittsburgh Penguins fans. But it just seems it came too little too late. Because now when you look at the point totals, it seems like the Penguins are right there. They're right on the doorstep of a potential another postseason berth, which they are. But there's just way too many teams they need to catch in front of them now. They're fourth down the list. So, yeah, they're only 3 points out, but they're fourth down the list, meaning they'd have to jump over 3 other teams to make the playoffs, which means you're going to have to consistently need 3 teams ahead of you to lose on a constant basis, which is hard when there's only 7-8 games left in the season. And there's not enough time this year with how the Capitals and the Islanders have been playing the second half of this year. It's just you need a lot. 3 points is not a lot, but jumping over 3 other teams is a lot.
Very fair. I'm with you on the Penguins. Sid is having one of the best 36-year-old seasons of all time. It's great, honestly. I love watching him play. Last night he tortured my favorite team, and like I kind of enjoyed it. Like he's so good. He adjusted his game to be still good at this age when he might not have the foot speed that he once did. The Penguins, I don't know the exact stat. There's something like 115, 11, and 5 all time when both Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin have a goal in the same game. It's almost impossible to beat them when they each score a goal. It's very impossible to beat them when they each have 2 goals, which is what happened yesterday. I actually can't remember the last time I saw both Sid and Gino each have 2 in the same game, but that's what happened. They're on this little run. We'll see what it turns into. We'll see if they're the first team out yet again. But there are going to be some really, really hard times coming up for the Pittsburgh Penguins in the next handful of years. So might as well enjoy this little hot run right now while it's there.
It's possible they get in, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah, for sure. Another team that's possible for them to get in, but it's going to be tough. The St. Louis Blues, Frank. They've been a little good lately. The Wild tried their chance. They're probably donezo. They pulled the goalie again with the extra attacker in overtime to try and get that extra point. And if you score into an empty net in overtime, the other team gets 0 points. You get the loser point taken away. And that's what happened to the Wild. So that pretty much cooked them. And then the Blues, winners of a couple in a row. Brandon Saad, the OTGWG the other night against the Los Angeles Kings. Or was it against the Kings? I forget who it was against. Either way, though, they've been sick. And I'd like to know your thoughts on them.
Yeah, so see the St. Louis Blues, that's a little bit different being 3 points out because they don't have they only have to jump up over one team, right? And this is an opportunity to sneak into the postseason during the final stretch of the season as well. And the Blues are one of those teams who have experience of winning a Stanley Cup when going on a run during the second half of the season. Just ask the 2019 team. Like, this team could be scary if Binnington gets hot in the postseason. So as of today, the way it sits, Blues are 3 points out of the first wild card spot. 6 points out of the second, or no, 3 points out of the second wild card spot, 6 points out of the first wild card spot. The first wild card spot's probably more than likely out of the question. But right now, both the Kings and Predators are in a bit of a slump. They've each lost 3 in a row, and that's opened the door wide for the St. Louis Blues to sneak into the postseason. The Kings and Predators' misfortune happened to be the Blues' fortune. And Binnington the other night, he had 2 assists. So if that doesn't spell everything right going for the Blues, then I don't know what else to tell you. So, I mean, they're cooking right now. Kings Predators have not been cooking as much. And the Blues might make the playoffs.
This is the worst possible thing that could be happening to the Blues. Because, like, with the Penguins, if they got in and went on a run, I wouldn't be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
If the Blues got in, I would pick them to get swept. And, like, they need to rebuild. I don't see much upside with them in the long term. I don't. They have an okay roster. They're like kind of shuffling around in this like NHL purgatory of like just being a middle of the pack team. They do have a Stanley Cup to show for it, so nobody's crying over there. But I mean, we're going to talk about one of their prospects in the second period. That's not going to play for them next year, so that's going to kind of not be as much of a spark as some people might have thought. I don't know, dude. I'm not in love with the Blues right now. I know they're winning lately. I think they got a long way to go though before they're back to being like a legit contender
Oh yeah,
as
they're
they
not a
were 10
contender
years
if
ago.
they get in. They'd get smoked to Colorado or whoever
Yeah,
they play in the first round.
exactly. Dallas,
Yeah. So
Jeebus. Either Dallas or Vancouver would motorboat them right on out of the playoffs. Frank, the Philadelphia Flyers, they're in trouble too.
yeah, well, they've been playing on a high the entire season. They're one of the teams that just shattered their preseason expectations as to what type of team they'd be. Like, even in all their success that they've had this season, they never strayed away from their plan. And I think we talked about this. Like, a downswing only seemed like it was going to come sooner or later. This team were sellers at the trade line, despite being in a division playoff spot. And not once did the Flyers make it known that they're going all in to make a deep postseason run. In fact, it's been quite the opposite. They have basically been a team that's been finding success with their young, rebuilding team, just playing their game. If they won this season, it's been great. But if they lost, I don't want to say like losing's fine, but there is no pressure that comes with their loss. Like, they're okay with that. They've been winning as a rebuilding team, which is great. But sustaining that success over an 82-game season is near impossible, really. When you don't have depth, like, you're finally showing signs that this team has a long ways to go because they don't have a ton of depth. And this team is far from done rebuilding. This is just naturally going to happen when you play 82 games. So I'm not surprised at all because they really didn't make it known like, hey, we're going to try and hold our playoff spot. If they were, they would have been buyers at the trade deadline, but they weren't.
Thomas Gage points out that the St. Louis Blues have more points than the Detroit Red Wings. Do you think this is because the Atlantic Division is so good, or do you think there's another reason for that?
Do you want to answer that? Because I know you got it brewing.
What do you mean?
You going to shit on him?
No.
I mean, I feel like it's kind of a dig.
To who?
Oh, I'm tweaking. Never mind.
What did you think?
No, I forgot. I thought it was a dig at the Devils, but the Devils are in the Metro.
Oh, no, yeah. The Atlantic Division is better than the Central, but the Red Wings.
Oh, the Red Wings.
I think the Red Wings at their best are better than the Blues.
They are
100%. At their best. But I think the Red Wings have had more ebbs and flows this season. They'll win 6 in a row and then lose 5. They'll win 4 in a row, then lose 2. The Blues, they'll win 2, lose 1.
They also have more talent on Detroit than St. Louis.
Way more. But I think the Blues have been a more consistently average team this season, where the Red Wings have had moments where they look like they could win the Stanley Cup and moments where they look like they could win the lottery.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just think the Blues have just kind of like treaded water all season long,
Mm-hmm.
and the Red Wings are in a current free fall right now, and has caused them to dip below the Blues in the overall NHL standings. But in a 7-game series, if both teams were healthy and playing at their best, I would take the Red Wings in the series.
Yeah.
But the Atlantic Division being better could have something to do with that. I mean, you're playing Boston, Tampa, Toronto, Florida on a regular basis. Yes, the Central has Dallas, Winnipeg, and Colorado. Nashville's good, but they are kind of overrated because of the streak that they were on before their current 3-game losing streak. They called it the FU2 tour when they got smoked by the Dallas Stars. The U2 concert got canceled, and then they won like 13 in a row. They called it the FU2 tour. If they don't win all those games in a row, I mean, they did win them all in a row, so they're in a playoff spot and they deserve it. But I mean, I do think that will kind of have people overrate them just a tad. But they're both fifth in their division. I just think, I don't know. I think Detroit's better, but they have less points.
Yeah, I agree. They have more talent too.
Like, would Patrick Kane at his age be the best offensive player on the Blues?
No. Probably Robert
You would
Thomas.
play Robert Thomas still? Yeah, that's probably true. Robert
Maybe
Thomas
the second best.
and Jordan Kyrou, when he's on his game, is very good. Saad has 8 goals in his last 14 games. He's been on fire. The Blues do have some players. Like, I think the Blues are kind of underrated at times. But I don't know. Detroit and the Blues, they're kind of like the same. Like, lots of talent, but I'm not sure where it's going. I think
Right.
there is more upside with the Red Wings, though.
I agree.
Last thing we'll talk about here in the NHL period, Josh Doan made his NHL debut. The greatest Coyote in franchise history, Shane Doan, had a kid, and Josh worked hard. He made it to the NHL, and in his first career game, he had 2 goals, and in the second game, he had 2 assists. Frank, what do you got on Josh Doan?
He's been immaculate so far to start his career. He's been great. Nothing really else to say in my opinion. I don't know. He's what the Coyotes hope for, I guess. I really don't know where he was predicted to go, or like where was he drafted, or was he?
He was a second rounder. Like
okay. Was
he
he projected to be this good? Because like right now he's playing like a first round, like a high end first rounder.
Yeah, I mean,
To have 5 points in 3 games, that's pretty good.
when I think of the second round in the NHL, I think of like a guy who he has the ceiling of a first rounder, but the floor of like a non NHL. Like, it's a first round talent that could not end up like using it. Like, that's what I think of with second round players.
Mhm.
He was 37th overall, so it was like high end second
Oh,
round.
yes, but was he projected to be like a good prospect?
Yeah, he was really good in junior. Here, I could pull up some of his stats. I do know he played for the Chicago Steel, which is really, really cool for this podcast being a Chicago-based program. But I could pull up his elite prospects. Give me a second on that. Josh Doan.
Yeah, because he kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't hear of anything until he made his NHL debut. Like normally we talk about players going in the draft, and we didn't even really mention him. So I didn't know if he was kind of a diamond in the rough that was found late. Was he projected to be like high end?
Well,
Because like I said, he's playing great.
I did a mock. I remember doing a mock in 2022 where I had him going. I'm pretty sure I had him going or it was 2021. I had like the Lightning or one of those teams, like one of those high end teams, taking him in the late portion of the first round. He fell and he ended up going to Arizona. It is cool because he did play 2 seasons for the Chicago Steel. In his last year with the Chicago Steel, he had 70 points in 53 games played. And then he went to the University of Arizona State. And so he was a Sun Devil, which means his home games were at Mullet Arena. I do remember hearing this. He scored the first ever goal in Mullet Arena as a member of the Sun Devils.
Oh,
And so for him to have the first goal in Mullet Arena history as a college player to then a couple years later score his first career goal in that same building is really cool. But yeah, he played for Arizona State. And then last season he played 14 games for the Arizona Roadrunners after Arizona State was eliminated. And this year he played 62 games for the Roadrunners, 26 goals, 20 assists for 46 points. And then so far in the NHL, he's taken a little bit of a jump offensively so far. He has 2 goals and 3 assists for 5 points in 3 games played. There are people that believe that for young players, it is harder to score in the AHL than in the NHL. We'll see if that holds true for Josh Doan, though.
he's been cooking.
And of course, not a bad mentor when you think about the fact that his dad he's the greatest Coyote of all time, and he's one of the greatest players in franchise history because their franchise history goes back to Winnipeg. So, Teemu Selanne is technically their all-time leading scorer, right? Like, but Shane Doan, in terms of an actual Coyotes jersey, he's the guy. So, Frank, that's the NHL. Lot going on right now. Playoffs are coming soon, April 20th. Going to be very, very fun. Got a lot to learn, though, before we get there. There's a lot still yet to be figured out. There's really nothing currently in place. The only thing I used to think the Hurricanes were going to catch the Rangers for first in the Metro. I don't really think that anymore. The Rangers winning the Metro is probably the closest thing to being a lock.
They could, though.
They could.
They're only 3 points out. They each got 7 games.
Yeah, just the Rangers. The Rangers.
They play each other.
They play each other, and the Rangers have been just so hot lately. Like,
that's a big game.
Yeah, for sure.
If the Hurricanes win, you never know.
You never know.
Just once. They play each other.
I think so. Yeah, they have one more, and the
Devils
Devils
play. If they played 2 more times.
Yeah, that'd be nuts. I know the Devils play them tonight. I will be watching the Rangers tonight. Not really looking forward to it, but it is what it is. All right, Frank, we got some college hockey to talk about in period number 2. Frank, 1 week from tomorrow, the college hockey Frozen Four will begin in St. Paul, Minnesota. Over the weekend, we learned that Boston College, Boston University, Michigan, and Denver will make it to the Frozen Four. Of those teams, which congrats on picking all 4 correctly.
Did you know I had the perfect bracket going if I made one?
Really?
I'm so mad.
You should have did it.
You didn't send me the link. You said you were going to send it to me.
My bad.
That's all right. It's not a big deal.
The reminders exist too.
I forgot about it. I needed a reminder to remind you.
Yeah, seriously. My bracket went to crap. I did not know that all 4 1 seeds have never made it to the Frozen Four. I probably would have reconsidered one of my picks. The thing is, though, I think I would have reconsidered Denver and not North Dakota. I was stunned when North Dakota lost. By the end of the game. Yeah, because I went in. I said
it could go either way,
and I agreed on the podcast. But then
Denver's good.
It was Michigan, but then
what do you mean?
Michigan? It was the one that beat North Dakota.
Oh,
and you picked it, and I was like,
"Oh, Michigan."
Going in, I did think it could go either way, and it wasn't until the game was over that I was like, "North Dakota really lost? Like, what?" Like, I know I said it could go either way, but like now that they're out, I'm like, "What the hell happened?"
Michigan, man.
Michigan still alive, obviously. Frank Nazar, Gavin Brindley, these guys are just absolutely unbelievable. This Rucker McGroarty, the Winnipeg Jets first rounder or second rounder, I forget what round he was drafted. He's going to be a Jet, though. I mean, just unreal talent. Denver, too. This Zeev Buyum, He's going to be a top 15 pick. If the Devils don't win the lottery, that's who I hope they draft. He would be my guy. He's kind of my draft crush going in so far right now. A lot of my draft crush defensemen have turned out to be studs. Keandre Miller, frickin' Bowen Byram. When my draft crushes are defensemen, I have a pretty good track record. When my draft crushes are forwards, it's a little more hit or miss. But when my draft crushes have been defensemen, pretty spot on. I love this Zeev Boyum kid. I don't even know if I'm saying his name right on Denver, but we still have the possibility of the Boston College versus Boston University national championship, and I think that's what a lot of people
For the
outside
fourth
of Ann
time.
Arbor, for the fourth time, what a lot of people outside of Ann Arbor and Denver are hoping for.
Yeah, so on one end, you got Boston College versus Michigan, right? Boston College really didn't take too much to get here. Beat Michigan Tech 4-1. And for Michigan Tech to only lose 4-1 to Boston College, that's a victory in itself for them. So, congrats for that. I mean, they played them tough and it just kind of got away from them there a bit. But like, I did think Michigan Tech did play them tough. But at the end of the day, the talent on BC is just too tough for Michigan Tech. Quinnipiac played BC tough as well. It took an overtime win to get it done. And like I said, Quinnipiac, they thrive come this time of year. Hence why I picked them against Wisconsin. But really, here you got the best overall team from head to toe against a Michigan team with some great NHL talent representing both of our favorite NHL teams. I'm looking forward to it. It should be a lot of fun. This is also Michigan's third consecutive Frozen Four bid.
Yep. And when it was Michigan playing Michigan State in their most recent game, it guaranteed the Big Ten being in for a handful of years in a row, which is really cool for them. But I mean, BC, BU, lots of NHL talent. Same thing with Michigan and Denver. But I think when a lot of people think of the high end talent in college hockey right now, the two Boston schools kind of lead the way.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch the Frozen Four, you'll have the opportunity to see Macklin Celebrini, who's going to be the number one overall pick in the 2024 NHL draft. That's obviously very exciting. Frank, we're going to make our picks for these next week because it'll be the eve of the Frozen Four beginning. One thing I want to go over for a little while, though, is the players that have been eliminated that are starting to sign off a little bit or make decisions for next season. I have 3 that come to mind right off the bat. Now you can react to those, and
Yeah.
any more you could bring them up. Obviously, the big news is that Jimmy Snuggerud is going to return to the University of Minnesota next season to play out his junior season rather than signing his pro contract with the St. Louis Blues and making his NHL debut tomorrow in Nashville was the plan. And then he ultimately decided to go back to school. The St. Louis Blues released a statement that they strongly support his decision and they believe this will be good for his development. That's obviously the big one. Then the Toronto Maple Leafs, they signed forward Jacob Quillian, who was with Quinnipiac. Awesome season for Quinnipiac. A couple big wins for them last season. He just was unreal. And this season, a couple big moves throughout the season that led to Quinnipiac kind of going on another little run again.
Yep.
They obviously had their hearts broken in the round of 8, but the other one, Colin Graff, he's also from Quinnipiac. Liney of Quillian, they played well together. He's still an unrestricted free agent. He's probably going to sign with an NHL team, I would assume, before this week is over. Guys who are undrafted and signed can't play in the playoffs. Guys who are already drafted can, as we've seen last year. Brock Faber, who was traded to the Wild in the Kevin Fiala trade, made his NHL debut at the end of last year. And then Luke Hughes did the same thing. Matthew Nyes, once their teams were eliminated, they came to the NHL. Graff and Quillian are a little different. They would have to wait till next year to, play. But the Leafs got one leaf. I almost said leafed up. Got one almost locked up, And then Graf, there's been rumors about the Bruins also going to the Leafs. The Wild are in the mix, which if he goes to the Wild, that would be, well, wild because
Hmm.
last year in the Frozen Four, he scored an overtime game winning goal against Minnesota. So there are a lot of Golden Gopher fans who would have to lose their hatred for Graf if he came to their favorite NHL team. But I mean, you have any reaction to these moves or potential moves? And then if there's any others you got to bring up?
Well, I was trying to look for a list of players that signed or were gonna sign. I really couldn't find anything, so I was kind of going off of what you brought to the table. So how does that work for a player that's undrafted? Is it just the scouts come up to them or the teams come to them? Or do they say, I want to play for this team? Maybe we could talk to them and see what we could get a deal going there. Is that how it works? Or how does that work? Or
Yeah, so I think it's like mutual, like agents talking to teams and poking around as if you're like a real unrestricted free agent looking to link with a club. I didn't bring these teams up because I have heard going to the Leafs with Quillian, the Bruins being in the mix. He played for the junior Bruins when he was a kid. The junior Bruins and the Boston Bruins are not affiliated, but you assume that if you're from the New England area, the Bruins are going to be in the mix. And then the Wild, of course, I brought up how he, was talking to them. He actually attended development camp at various points with the Nashville Predators and the Florida Panthers over last offseason. So those teams could very well be in the mix too for Colin Graf. There are all sorts of factors that lead into guys making decisions like this. There are times where players are drafted, play all
Mhm.
4 years at school, and decide they don't want to play for the team that drafted them anymore. So they wait for that August 15th deadline to sign with a new team as a free agent. We've seen Jimmy Vesey do it. Adam Fox did it. Well, Adam Fox ultimately got traded to the team he wanted to sign with. Otherwise, he would have done it. Will Butcher
Mhm.
left the Colorado Avalanche's rights to sign with the New Jersey Devils. Alexander Kerfoot left the Devils to go to the Colorado Avalanche. They probably should have just been traded one for one that offseason. That would have saved both teams a lot of pain. But yeah, it happens. We'll see what happens with Graf though.
Yeah, I mean, Snuggerud going back to Minnesota, that's good for Minnesota. Kind of stinks for the Blues, but the Blues aren't ready for him right now. I think it's actually benefits them for him going back to Minnesota because I don't think coming onto this team next year would do any good for him, really. But
The only thing that worries me, if he pulls this shit again next year, I'm convinced he never plays for the Blues. Then he would probably, I would assume, pursue. But that's a lot of money to leave on the table to just not play and hold ass another year. Um, I don't know. I want him to play for the Blues. The Blues fans deserve him. They've been anticipating him for a long time. It bugs me we won't see him in the Winter Classic. Um, that does stink. I was looking forward to seeing him play in person on the frozen pond at Wrigley Field, but it's not going to happen. So, but here also, it is worth noting that Cooley said the same thing last year when Minnesota lost. He returned to Minnesota. There was this big thing about it with the Coyotes, and then in the middle of July, Cooley was like, "Wait, never mind.
and that could
I'm."
happen.
It could, due to the fact that the Blues put out a statement and all this stuff about it, does make me think it's less likely to happen than Cooley.
Yeah,
But I leave the door 15% open for it.
that's fair. That's fair.
So yeah, that's that. I'm excited for the Frozen Four though.
It's gonna be
Um,
exciting.
are there any teams that lost in the the college round of 16 or the round of 8 that you look at and you're like, you could be back next year?
I think Minnesota because Snuggerud's coming back, and it'll be interesting to see if Oliver Moore returns or if he comes up to Chicago. I don't know if there was a decision on that made. I haven't heard anything on that, but like I don't think Snuggerud would have decided to go back to Minnesota and skip out playing in the NHL if he didn't believe in this Minnesota team. So I kind of expect big things for them next season, especially if Oliver Moore stays there as well. Two huge players for Minnesota. But I also think another team is Quinnipiac, right? This team always thrives in March. Even if they aren't elite in the regular season, they always have what it takes to make a nice run in the tournament. I mean, they were one goal away from beating Boston College and going back to the Frozen Four. Like this team's no joke, and they might not have all the NHL talent that some of these other teams have, but I always will expect them to bounce back even stronger than because this school is just so well run. So those are my two.
I agree with your two. I'll put extra emphasis on the Golden Gophers. I'm glad you brought them up. I mean, they're always in the mix, right? They're a blue blood. They're Purdue or Villanova or Duke when it comes to talking about college basketball. Kansas, they're right there with BU, BC, Michigan, North Dakota. We'll see if Quinnipiac. I wouldn't call them blue bloods yet because I think you need like decades worth to be considered a blue blood. But Minnesota is that. Like the entire movie Miracle is kind of based on a rivalry that took place between Boston University and the University of Minnesota. McClanahan went to Minnesota. Jack O'Callahan went to BU. They got in a fight in the national championship. McClanahan injured O'Callahan. The Gophers won the national championship. I mean, it was a whole thing. And then they come together on Team USA and have to not be little babies anymore. That's basically what the entire first half of the movie's about, leading up to them being able to beat the Soviets. Minnesota's right there. And I'm excited to see what they can do. They've lost a lot of players to the NHL in the last handful of years, and they continue to figure out recruit guys who will be drafted this upcoming year that you'll see on the screen. They're committed to the University of Minnesota for the 2024-25 season. Snuggerud's going back. I think Oliver Moore would be a genius to go back. There are a lot of guys I feel that if I were Celebrini, I'd go back, but that's just me. They lost Cooley, they lost Matthew Nyes, Brock Faber's gone, but they still find ways to be competitive. If Snuggerud goes back and he has a real good year, he took a step back this year, not being on a line with Nyes and who did I just say that went to the NHL? It was Cooley. Cooley. That was a sick line. Snuggerud, Cooley, and Nyes, right? Like that'd be a sick line in the NHL right now.
100%.
It could be a Team USA line down the line. I think. So yeah, I'm excited for Minnesota going into next year. They were my one team that didn't advance this year that I think could. Also, Wisconsin. Wisconsin had a lot of freshmen. They're going to keep adding them in. I think I could see Wisconsin getting into the dance next year. They didn't make it this year, but I could see them getting into the dance next year and being a force.
They beat them.
I like Quinnipiac. There's no doubt. Wait, did Wisconsin make the dance?
When? This
year?
Yeah, Quinnipiac.
That's right. Quinnipiac did. Yeah, you're right. I'm wrong. They did make the dance. That feels like forever ago. But yeah, they did make it. I think they can make it next year, and I think they could possibly even go on a run. We'll see. I don't know if is Wisconsin a blue blood? If they're not a blue blood, they're like right below. Like they're in the team photo.
The team photo.
Yeah, like I would put them above Quinnipiac all time. Not right now, like not the last decade. But, Wisconsin chugs out some good players here and there. Ryan Suter, Cole Caulfield, Phil Kessel. Or no, Phil Kessel was a Gopher. Yeah, I mean, it's sick. The whole tournament, this tournament's been awesome. There was really only one bad game over the weekend, like where the team just kind of blew the other team out. Like, even UMass and Cornell and teams like this have been unreal. Watching Cale Makar's brother play has just been super fun for UMass. Yeah, I love this tournament. It's been wonderful hockey, and I cannot wait for the Frozen Four in the greatest hockey state in the United States of America, the state of Minnesota, the state of hockey.
Yep, it's going to be interesting for sure. I can't wait to see who takes it all.
Absolutely. I want Illinois to be like one of the upper end hockey states, and I think it very well could be. And I feel that way about New Jersey too. Obviously, I have close ties to New Jersey. When you go to the Rock, you see all the high school jerseys hanging up. I feel that way about them too, and they've pumped out NHL talent. The Van Riemsdyk brothers, John Carlson, who's been one of the best defensemen in the NHL over the last decade. There was another one, Ross Colton, real good player for the Colorado Avalanche, two-time Cup champion with the Lightning. Obviously, the two blue blood states are Minnesota and Massachusetts. I would rank Michigan third, but I want Illinois to jump in there. Let's go. We need a D1. We need a D1 college program badly. badly. I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is that wants to fork up the cash. I don't care if it's NIU. I don't care if it's Illinois.
It'd
I
be
don't care.
DePaul.
I don't care if it's freaking DePaul. That'd be cool. Whoever it is, they will be one of my favorite college hockey teams. No, I would support the crap out of them because I think Illinois needs D1 college hockey. Frank, anything else on the Frozen Four before we move along? We'll make our predictions next week.
Yeah, I think I'm excited to make our predictions. It might not be who you think it's going to be, but we'll save that for next week.
Absolutely. That pass Frankie Nazar made, you see it?
Oh, yeah. Frank Nazar. Oh, God, dude. I can't wait. I can't wait till he comes to the Hawks.
I stand by this. No Blackhawks prospect did themselves more favors this season than Frank Nazar, including Oliver Moore. In fact, Oliver Moore came into the season as my number 3 overall Blackhawks prospect behind Bedard and Reichel. I probably had Nazar like 4th or 5th. Now Bedard has graduated. Reichel has graduated, even though if he didn't graduate, he would have fell below some of these guys. I think Frankie Nazar right now is the best prospect in the Blackhawks organization, including Oliver Moore.
Would you have more too?
Yeah, I would.
Interesting.
Only because now if we're doing U23 rankings, which like the Athletic does that instead of ranking prospects, Bedard would be 1, Korchinski would be 2, Vlasic would be 3. Vlasic might be 2, Korchinski might be 3. Guys like that would be in the mix. But right now, I'm liking Frank Nazar, and the fact that he can dish the puck like that. Like, we all know he could shoot, but like the fact that he could like make sick passes like that, and you have this generational goal scorer leading your organization, I could see Nazar playing with Bedard as early as next season.
Oh, I need it.
Like, picture this. They win the draft lottery. They draft Macklin Celebrini with the 1st overall pick. He decides to forego his sophomore season at Boston University, and he comes to play for the Blackhawks in the NHL. Frank Nazar signs his entry-level deal. Ryan Green, the great Blackhawks prospect from Boston University, signs his entry-level deal. All of a sudden, you got these guys joining Bedard. You have Vlasic, Korchinski, and on the defense, your top 3 centers, or your top 2 centers are Bedard and Celebrini. What if you call Pittsburgh and check on Sidney Crosby's availability?
Could you imagine?
I can. We've talked about Sid leaving the Pens. If I got to pick where he'd win, I'd rank Bruins 1. I'd rank Blackhawks 2.
Wow.
In terms of what I want, in terms of realistic possibility, I don't know where I would rank the Hawks. Bruins would be 1. Avalanche would be 2. But Bedard wants to play. Don't be surprised if Bedard and Crosby play with each other at the World Championships once both Pittsburgh and Chicago are eliminated. If they don't make the playoffs, it'll be right from scratch. And they form a buddy ship that nobody ever saw coming.
Except you.
Except me. Sid the Kid to Chicago. All of a sudden, you're a playoff team.
We'll see.
But
there will be those signings. Those signings will come.
Yeah.
To the Hawks.
Well, yeah, they will. Sid's that's a different beast. I don't care that he's 37 next year. Like, not at all. He would lead them in scoring. He'd probably lead them or be second in goals. Like, and then you have Celebrini. You have Nazar. We'll see what happens with Taylor Hall. I mean, Taylor Hall's still a good player.
Yeah.
But he's always hurt now. I don't know. I have a lot of hopes. And I love college hockey, and I'm excited for the way this season's going to end. I can't wait to get to the predictions next week. Frank, let's get on over to the bullshit in period number 3. Frank.
VP.
Major League Baseball is underway.
Yeah, it is.
Your Detroit Tigers off to a good start.
Not surprised. Got them winning the AL Central.
Hell yeah. One of my favorite logos in all of sports, the Detroit Tigers D.
I'm telling you, watch out for the Tigers.
Hey,
Everybody thinks I'm crazy.
hey, Spencer Torkelson, sick.
Scooble, sick.
Scooble, sick. Green, sick. Javi
They got a
Baez,
they
not
got a
sick.
good team. They got a good team. They really
They,
do. It's
they
a
do.
good young team.
There's no doubt. Your Cubs, pretty good start. I know they lost the first two games. The only one that was horrendous though was the Kyle Hendricks start to
Mhm.
the defending World Series champion Texas Rangers. They had multiple opportunities to win on opening day and didn't. But I like that Cubs team overall. I mean, it's been a good
Nothing to
start.
worry about. Very early. Um, Pounding the Rockies. I'm assuming the game today is gonna be postponed. If
The
it
White
is
Sox
really.
already were.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's only a matter of time. But no, I've really been enjoying this season so far. Cubs have been cooking. Mariners have been playing fairly decent. Um, yeah, I mean, it's been great. It really has.
I don't know what the difference is between the south side of Chicago and the north side of Chicago weather-wise, but the game as of right now is not currently postponed for the Chicago Cubs.
It will. There's no way. It's snowing.
Well, that doesn't matter. That baseball can firmly be played in the snow.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen it.
But it's like snow raining.
It just matters on whether or not the field is playable. But the Cubs have not sent out a single tweet today. So we'll see what
They're
they
not
end
gonna.
up
There's no way.
deciding. The only tweet they have today is a retweet of Michael Bowling, who is the on-air social host for the Cubs. Yeah. Um, are there any early surprises, good or bad, for you? Both good and bad. Say one for each.
Yeah, the combined Pittsburgh Pirates and Brewers are combined 9-0. I It's a little weird. I don't. You can't say, "Oh my God, they're a playoff team right now," because like it's so far
Yeah, of
from
course.
it. Like they could be, they're 9-0, and then at the end of like May, they could be combined like 21-40 or something. Like, I mean, the tide can turn, but for right now, wasn't expecting the Pirates and Brewers to be a combined 9-0. Also, was not expecting the Los Angeles Angels to be leading the AL West because really you got Mike Trout and that's it. And on paper, they're the fourth best team in that division, and they have the best record in the AL West. Little surprising. My one surprising bad, the Houston Astros being 1-5. Can't believe it. Good though. I'm happy about it. And the Miami Marlins 0-7. Are you kidding? I would have never saw. If you told me they'd be 0-7 to start the season, I'd say you're on glue. That team is way too talented to be 0-7.
Yeah, I'm stunned that the Marlins are, um, winless so far. They're one of my surprises. One of my surprises in a good. Obviously, I was going to say the Pirates. The Brew Crew, I didn't pick them to do all that well. Um, but I mean, they have been good in recent years, so it's less surprising than the Pirates. Um, the Dodgers are so sick. Um, Obviously, my White Sox are 1-4. That came to be expected. I don't think the Astros are bad. I they got swept by the Yankees, right? Like, and they're 1-1 in their current series. Um, I just I think there's a good chance they come back from this. The Yankees are 5-1 though, and they might prove me wrong because I picked them to miss playoffs. Um,
I
I
think I had
know.
him, right?
Yeah, you did. You don't make playoffs now, like you said, but I mean the Yankees without Garrett Cole even so far have looked really good against good teams.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that progresses for them. I just hope the Red Sox stay in it. They're 4-2. They've won 3 in a row. Um, we'll see what happens. I expected the Baltimore Orioles. They're 3-2. I expect them to be good, like real good. They're off to an okay start, being 3-2. If you go 3-2 every 5 games, you'll win 100 games. So like, you know, I know 3-2 doesn't sound all that great, but in baseball, it actually kind of is.
It is.
Um,
They're really good right now.
yeah. Um, the freaking Dodgers, though, their rotation is unreal, and having 3 former National League MVPs,
That's crazy.
1, 2, and 3 in your lineup.
It's
Just it could
broken.
as the greatest team ever assembled. If they win 110 games and then win the World Series, I'll call them the greatest team ever assembled. Yeah, for sure. I mean, Glasnow when he's healthy, oh my god. You know I love me some Tyler Glasnow. He has just been unreal to start the season.
He's on my fantasy team.
Hell yeah, as he should be. Nobody pissed me off in the fantasy draft more than you.
Because of that?
I think there is a bit of luck involved in that because usually it's whoever's a pick or two ahead of you, and you're eyeballing a guy, and then they get swooped up. Of course, Glasnow. When we used to talk about Tyler Glasnow, I used to imitate my favorite podcast, Section 10, because he's the favorite non-player on your favorite team, and when he would do something great, you would go, "I'm horny." It was Tyler Glasnow. Like he's just the sex god. Everybody loves Tyler Glasnow. I love Tyler Glasnow. I love that he's on the Dodgers now. Love it. Can't get enough of Tyler Glasnow. I'm gonna get his jersey.
Do it.
Frank. I think it's that time. It's been a while. I want to get this in once a month. Is my
Okay.
new goal. And I figured with it being the first show of the great month of April, one of my favorite months of the whole year. I would argue it maybe even as my third or fourth favorite month. I've said it's on my Mount Rushmore of months. I'm pretty October, November, December, April. Yeah, that's my Mount Rushmore of months. Frank, it is time. We don't have a graphic for it. We should. We need a graphic for this.
That would be cool, yeah.
I want an intro for this, like Breaking Bets. I'm gonna make that happen.
Okay.
But it is time for Frank's Video Game Corner.
Yeah, it's a little bit on the smaller side. Not a lot of crazy big news has come out lately. But I'll start off by saying Minecraft has decided to join the subscription-based service, and they're calling their own service called Marketplace Pass. Marketplace Pass will allow you to subscribe monthly for $3.99. You'll be granted with access to over 150 different content packs from the marketplace each month. Every month, the content will be refreshed, and you'll be able to choose from new and exciting content. The Marketplace Pass will have a wide variety of content to download. There'll be tons of skin packs, texture packs, adventure maps, survival maps, and so much more. That's literally everything you love about Minecraft thrown in one subscription service that they'll be updating on a monthly basis. Pretty cool, I thought. Never would have expected this out of Minecraft. Huge opportunity they're taking, though, because a lot of people, everybody likes to create a world and create your own world. But a lot of people who play on PC always love to mod their games for different, so you could add different items and tools and maps into the game. And for Xbox and PlayStation console users, you never really got that until within the past couple years, where you were able to buy maps and buy texture packs and all that from the Minecraft store on Xbox. Well, now you could still do that, but you could also subscribe for $4 a month, and you're going to get like a whole bunch of stuff for free. And the value there is just insane. If you're an avid Minecraft player and you like to mix up texture packs and you want to explore different maps and stuff, I think it's great value. I think it's a magnificent move by Minecraft, in my opinion. Second, David Ismailer, I think is how you pronounce it, Ismailer. David Ismailer, the president of Take-Two publishing label 2K, had very interesting words to say about the future of the Borderlands franchise. The news came after the acquisition of Gearbox, which was bought and solely owned by Take-Two for $460 million. David Ismailer stated, "We've loved partnering with Gearbox on every iteration of the Borderlands franchise, and are excited to be in active development on the next installment in the series. So I'm looking forward to that. Borderlands 4, if that's what it's going to be called, coming in the not near future, but coming in the future. Is it going to be a sequel? Is it going to be a prequel like we have seen? I mean, it kind of is coinciding closely with the news of a Borderlands movie coming out. How will they market it? That will it be related to the Borderlands movie? I mean, there's a lot of questions to be answered, and I'm excited because I know a lot of people like the Borderlands franchise. A lot of people in our little friend group we have like the Borderlands franchise, so it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to watch the movie. So yeah, everything in between. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be getting Borderlands 4. I'm sure Joey will be getting Borderlands 4. So it's very interesting that they announced that the next installment is in development. And then VP, South Park Snow Day is out. And if you love South Park, you're going to want to check out this game. Third game in the South Park franchise. A little idea as to what South Park Snow Day is all about is Eric Cartman comes home during an intense blizzard and he's excited over the idea of a day off from school. So what does Eric Cartman do? At night, he prays to God for a snow day. And in the morning, the news states that all Park County schools are to be closed. He got his wish from the heavens above. And from what I've seen, it's been a really fun game. I want to play it. I love South Park. I love just everything about it, the characters, the comedy, the humor. It's just so good. So if you're looking for something to play, maybe check that out if you want. If you haven't played the first two games, though, this is technically canon, and they refer to like the other games as well. So it's worth checking out too. South Park's just so much fun, and the fact that Eric Cartman prayed for a snow day, and that's the route they wanted to choose with this plot, is just very funny. It's just very funny.
It is very funny.
But that's all I got for you. Not a lot, but a little bit.
It's all we need. It's all we need to get our video game mojo jojo going. I'm excited. That South Park game does sound intriguing. Do Matt Parker and Trey? Is it Matt Stone and Trey Parker?
Yeah, Matt Stone. Yeah,
Matt Stone and Trey Parker. Do they have influence on the plot of this game and the making of this game?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say yes.
I would assume yes too.
I would say
the South Park games in the past I've played have felt like episodes, and I feel like if they weren't involved, they wouldn't. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up really quick.
It's kind of like when you watch Ted. It feels like a big episode of Family Guy, and that's because Seth MacFarlane is in charge of it, and he's in charge of, you know, Ted as well. So I don't know. It feels like the same thing. So I would assume it is. If it's not,
yeah, I think it is. It is.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say
in 2021, they both signed a $900 million development deal with Viacom CBS, and one of the projects announced being this new 3D South Park game, developed by South Park Digital Studios. So yeah, it is part of a bigger deal that they signed earlier in 2020.
That makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense. I was going to say, if they're not involved, the people who are in charge of it do a very good job then.
Yeah.
So
if you like South Park, which I know you do.
Of course. One of my all-time favorite cartoons. All right, Frank, to wrap up the third period, what are you playing and what are you watching this upcoming weekend?
I've been grinding Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order more than ever before. I played the other day for like 6 hours.
Wow.
It's getting...
You're ahead of me now, for sure.
Oh, the game is getting to the addicting point where the game just like sucks you in. You never want to stop playing. So that is the point I am at in the game. Other than that, I haven't been playing much other than like Rocket League here and there, a little bit in between. The way I am when it comes to video games is I don't like to have too many video games going at once. I like to have my main story game, like Jedi Fallen Order. And then I like to have like a Rocket League type game, a sports video game, and then maybe something smaller that I could just play just to kill some time if I'm tired of Star Wars. I wouldn't ever in a million years start like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and then Red Dead Redemption and then like Grand Theft Auto. Like that would just be like, no, that's too much anxiety right there. I can't have 3 major games going at once. And it's funny because the other day I was talking to your brother and he was like, yeah, he goes, I'm the same way, just like you. I can't have like more than one big game going at once. Cause like you want to focus and dial in on one story. I don't want 3 stories having to remember what I'm playing. So right now I'm just grinding Fallen Order, got a little Rocket League on the side. And I'll probably download a smaller game I could play here and there in between. And as far as what I'm watching, I texted you. We started season 2 of The Traders, finished season 1. Finally got to see Dan back on the big screen. Oh my God, I almost fainted. It's fantastic. Yeah, other than that, besides the usual baseball, Survivor, Deal or No Deal Island, stuff like that, yeah, nothing really new. So
Do you think Boston Rob has a chance to win?
he has a chance to win. He's not gonna win, though. I don't think.
I think he has no shot.
Yeah, he's not gonna
He's
win.
the best player. I'm not questioning that.
Yeah, well, if he's got the chance if he keeps winning, but he's not gonna they're gonna get him out the first chance.
The first opportunity they have,
Yeah,
like the first time Michael didn't win immunity, he was gone.
yeah, that's kind of like what it is here. So, I mean,
Yeah.
does he have a chance? Yeah, realistically, he's not going to. But are you all caught up?
Yeah, I'm caught up, and then I'm caught
I
up on
hated this
Survivor too.
episode.
So why? Because no one went home.
It's stupid.
Yeah,
I was pissed.
it feels like a waste of time.
It was like that's your big game changer. Seriously, I thought it was gonna be something bigger.
Well, because she was gonna be too dumb to send home Rob though. That's the only thing that pisses me off. Like I want Boston Rob to win. Let me make it very
but
clear.
she couldn't
I
have
want
voted
him to win.
Rob out.
Oh, he had immunity.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Oh yeah. Okay.
She was safe regardless because she made a good deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was just like a waste. Like I get it. Some episodes you have you don't send somebody home or whatever, but it was just like the banker's bonus. That's what you came up with. That there's no elimination. Like I thought it was just been something bigger. Like a game. You said game changing power. Really didn't change the game at all. I mean, the plans are still the same, and I don't know. I was just irritated.
Yeah. I understand. A lot of money went to the pot.
A lot of money. Oh, that pot's going to continue to grow. It's great.
Whoever wins is going to be very, very rich.
Oh yeah.
Which is exciting. Frank, for me, it's going to be I'm going to watch the White Sox lose a lot of games. There's no college hockey this weekend. So it'll be the NHL and the White Sox and other Major League Baseball for me. Outside of Survivor, a couple other shows here and there. I will continue to play Call of Duty a little bit. I haven't decided. I have to get Spider-Man somehow because that's next on the list. That and Hogwarts. I'm the same way. I don't really dive into too many story games at one time. So yeah, I just need time to sit and play.
Did you start Fallen Order?
Yeah, I started it.
Have you just
it's been a while since I've played, but it's been a while since I played in general, outside of a couple Call of Duty games here and there. But once I'm able to sit down and dive in, I will get back into Star Wars, and I want to start Spider-Man. Either Spider-Man or Hogwarts, one or the other. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Gotcha.
So that's what I'm playing this weekend. All right, it's time for America's favorite podcast segment of the week. Breaking bets. Frank, welcome to this week's edition of America's favorite podcast segment of the week, Breaking Bets. Your record continues to improve.
We went 2-1 last week.
2-1 last week.
Just keeps climbing. That's good.
Go 2-1 this week. You'll be 500.
I will. Let's go 3-0.
Go 3-0. You'll be over 500.
Let's go. Yeah, I mean, still positive on the year, which is good.
Yep.
48%, not great, not terrible, depending on the types of bets you're making. But
for sure,
yeah, I'm content with where it's at right now. Got a long way to go in the year.
Long way to go.
So let's just kick it off with a great game tonight between the Edmonton Oilers and the Dallas Stars. How about that one? They have both played. Well, I shouldn't say they both. They played against each other twice this year, which both games were very close. Each team winning one, and each game the other won by 4-3, which I thought was pretty interesting as well. Both teams coming to this game fairly hot. Dallas Stars have won 7 in a row. They'll be looking to make it 8. But I think they're going to be stopped in their tracks tonight. The way McDavid's playing right now, he's got 26 points in his past 11 games. 26 points in his past 11 games. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to win every game and beat Dallas, right? That means you're not going to win 10 in a row, that means. But the way he's playing, after a disappointing loss to the Blues the other night in overtime, where they thrive, they lost in overtime to the Blues, great chance for the Oilers to rebound after that OT loss and pick up a huge road win against the Stars. So I'm taking the Edmonton Oilers money line at -108, bet to win 2 units. What a great game. I'm pretty sure it's on the national TV as well, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right, VP?
On TNT, the Devils play the Rangers at 6, and then the Oilers play the Stars right after.
There we go. It's gonna be a great game. Next up, there really wasn't a ton in the NBA that I really would say I love. And then I found a parlay. Don't normally do parlays on the show, but we got the Cavs versus the Suns and the Thunder versus the Celtics. I'm going to go with the Cavs I'm going to go with the Suns and Celtics parlay. Celtics are going to be looking for revenge this game after the Thunder took the first meeting of the season on the Thunder's home court. The Thunder will be coming to this game on a second of a half to back-to-back. And if you follow Breaking Bets, you know I strongly fade those. So the Celtics should be able to get it done. The Suns, on the other hand, they're also playing some great ball right now. They're returning home after a long but very successful road trip. Suns currently sit in 7th and are a play-in team. But with how well the Suns are playing, they need this game more than the Cavs. The Cavs are 3rd in the East. They need this game to claw out of the play-in and get an automatic bid into the postseason. There's only 7 games to go in the season. I like the Suns and Celtics to get it done. You parlay them, it's -122, but we're going to go large and bet to win 5 units on that one. And finally, I could give out my first MLB pick of the year. We're going to switch focus to the Blue Jays and the Houston Astros. We're going to go with the Astros money line at -142, bet to win 2 units. They started out 1-5 this year, the Astros. This Astros team is too good to continue to keep losing. Javier pitched great in his first game of the season. And if the bats could get cooking and the bullpen doesn't get erratic, the Astros should be able to win this game. Bassett for the Blue Jays didn't have a ton of control in his first outing versus the Rays. So I think the Astros, with how much depth they have in this lineup, will be able to get to Bassett early and hold the fort down long enough with Javier so the bullpen doesn't have to work too hard tonight. So we're going to go Astros money line -142, bet to win 2 units.
There you go. That's Breaking Bets. Frank, you made some good picks. Interesting with the parlay. Haven't seen that on Breaking Bets in a while.
Yeah.
We've seen it before though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not often.
No, it's rare. It's rarefied air seeing a parlay involved.
Rarefied air.
Yeah. Well, I hope you turn it up into getting this thing over 50%. I think it's certainly possible based on your projections. I was wrong. When you were talking about the Oil versus the Stars, McDavid's 3 assists away from 100. So it could be in the books tonight. It could be a historical night.
It could be.
With McDavid becoming the 4th player to ever have 100 assists in a season. I'm rooting for it. Let's go, McDusty. Big night for the Oil tonight. Yeah, he's sick. He's unreal. I can't wait. It's going to be so sweet. All right. I hope everybody enjoyed watching the show today. It's been an absolute time. If you're looking for more entertainment involving me, you can watch the Game Day Live episode. New Jersey Devils are getting ready to take on the New York Rangers. You can find that at the Let's Go Devils Podcast Network. Frank, do you have anything left to say before we dip?
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. Go Tigers. For everybody watching, make sure you tune into the rest of the shows here on the Barroom Network. You got me doing Crosstown Crosstalk and South Burbs Hitman talking Major League Baseball. Lots of stuff with the NFL draft coming up. Obviously, the 2024 NFL draft is coming up later this month. The Chicago Bears have pick number 1 and pick number 9. Are they going to take Caleb Williams? Yes, they are. Who are they going to take at number 9, though? Will they take the Washington wide receiver Rome Odunze? Will they take Dallas Turner, the edge rusher from Alabama? Is it Alabama or Florida State? Where's Dallas Turner from? I forget. Lots of different options for them. Joe Alt from Notre Dame. I don't think he gets to the Bears at 9. I don't think they would take him anyway, but he's the top offensive lineman. Lots of interesting options. I can't wait to see where Malik Neighbors goes. And the Minnesota Vikings are going to trade up and take J.J. McCarthy, aren't they? That's probably going to end up being the case. I think they trade up with the Cardinals at
It's possible.
4, and the Cardinals move down. McCarthy goes to the Vikings. He's their new franchise quarterback. Hopefully he turns out to be good for them, which would drop Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Chargers at 5, which freaking that'd be a great way to replace Keenan Allen, I would say.
Yeah,
if you're
a
the
lot. They've
Los
lost
Angeles Chargers.
over 50% of his wide receiver output.
Yes. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. The Barroom Network has you covered with all the great shows here talking about the NFL draft. Last night's episode of Dan and Aldo bare their souls. Get in on that. Watch all the old shows. Watch all the upcoming shows. Hit the dingy thing. Hit the bell on YouTube.
The dingy thing.
Watch on Twitter, Facebook, wherever it is you get your shows. If you're just tuning in now, you need to hear the audio version. You go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It will be uploaded shortly. Frank, I hope you enjoyed the show as much as I did. To everybody in the chat watching, Connor McDavid is the greatest hockey player who ever lived. And as always, thank you for listening.